process after his arrest on September 7, 2022, based on his suspicious relationship with terrorists that carried out the March 2022 train attack along the Abuja-Kaduna highway. At least 8 people died in that attack, while 168 people were declared missing, most of whom are believed to have been kidnapped. And then the remaining 23 kidnapped victims only regained their freedom after 6 months in captivity on the 5th of October 2022, following federal government's intervention. The federal government arraigned Mamu on the 21st of March 2023 on 10 counts of terrorism, including aiding terrorist operations in the country, and he pleaded not guilty to the charges. Now, there's this word that has continued to come up, whether it is in the release of the Kebbi churchgoers, no, the Kebbi students, yes, the Kwara churchgoers, and for every other one that we would hear, perhaps in the coming days, hopefully. This is what that keeps coming up: federal government's intervention. Sir, perhaps you could help us.
No, I can't.
You elucidate.
Honestly, I can't help your situation.
What that is? No, sir, please, because I've been trying to crack my head around it. Now we're talking about the 23 kidnapped victims from that train kidnapping. They regained their freedom after federal government's intervention. We have also heard of federal government's intervention in the recently kidnapped people who regained their freedom. We also had, because yesterday I spent quite some time going over Mr. Bayananuga's statements when he was explaining how they regained their freedom and how they were able to contact the terrorists or the bandits or what have you, and let them understand the gravity if they don't release the people. So maybe you can help us. What do you think this federal government intervention is? Because if I recall, concerning the students, I think the governor dismissed any insinuations that a ransom was paid. But we see our government intervening, more and more in these instances. Perhaps if you don't know the peculiars or the particulars, maybe you could help us to just... What do you think this federal government intervention is?
Sometimes the situation makes you begin to wonder whether I actually want to just all give up on government and let them just run the country the way they want to run it. Because while it is true that, yes, we are happy, whatever way, whatever method was deployed, was used, some of these abducted people and, pupils and children are back home. That's quite in order. But you see my worry here. It is this same approach that has provided the oxygen with which these terrorists and abductors have remained alive. And they are growing. And they are playing on the intelligence of government. And government think that they are having dealings with people that are rational. They are using government. They are playing on the intelligence of government. They are using government to further their aims and objectives. And unfortunately, the Nigerian government is playing into their hands. We had thought that with a change of government from the Buhari administration, this template would have been jettisoned, abandoned, and a proper security template that deals decisively with terrorists, bandits, whatever I want to call them, across the country would have been adopted. Unfortunately, that does not seem to be the case. A security media outfit said they deployed non-kinetic approach.
Yes.
There's no expression I despise, I detest to the point of hatred, like telling me as a citizen that my government that's supposed to protect me, that they used non-kinetic approach to secure me. There's nothing as detested, or there's nothing as irritating as that. And yet they keep parroting this irritation. You know what this government does not know, and the one before it? See this bandits bar. Whether you like it or not, you said you didn't pay ransom. That's your business. But one thing is for sure. These guys are getting emboldened every day. and they are increasing their armament capabilities, their weapon system capabilities. And let me tell you, the bandits now are in such a position of advantage over the state, over the Nigerian state, that they are beginning to think that they can take over the state itself. They're no longer looking at these little abductions. They only want to raise monies to continue to stockpile weapons. In the next few years, if this nonsense called non-kinetic approach continues with bandits, the bandits will come for the state proper. Governments in the affected states, with the intervention of federal government, will start paying taxes to the bandits to exist as government, even if it's in exile. Note this date down. This tape will be played. We will need to record this tape in future to say, I said this. It has happened in other countries. This is considered as petty thieves, so cattle rustlers. Rural bandits stand on the highway and rob people. And then they discovered that, okay, if you abduct a human being, it brings more money than just robbing on the highway. Started it. Paid off. This is good money. Oh. Low risk, highly profitable. All you need is a gun. And their capability, their natural endowment as headsmen allows them to be able to walk through the wilderness for length, for distances that no ordinary human being can do. Somebody was asking, how did they cut away over 300 students? I said, on foot. Think they put them in buses? No. They had them like cattle into the forest.
Well, there were reports, I think, of a van and some motorcycles.
It's not possible. They can come with motorcycles to abduct. They cannot come with a van. Which road do the van follow? I've been a victim of abduction. I've been a victim of kidnapping. I don't wish it for my enemy because you are going to walk the hell out of your life. So if you survive the long distance walks, good luck to you. Otherwise, that's one of the reasons you're going to die first. Before even the people start paying ransom. It's on foot. They walk deep into the forest. They are masters of the wilderness. They've been toughened by life. They understand the terrain. That's why in trying to understudy crime, the identity of the criminal is very important. To understand why they are able to carry out such cruel activities with such ease. So you go to their ethnicity first, their religious orientation, their cultural occupation, their philosophy of life. You have to check all of that to understand why. Why is the person doing this?
You know what's interesting about what you're saying, Dr. Majeed? I remember when these conversations first started getting to the limelight, and all you would hear as pushback from the government is, you are profiling these people.
Because government don't know what they are saying. If you go to the police station today to register a complaint against somebody, and the person is brought in as an accused, the person will write his ethnicity there and his religion. It's part of criminal profiling. Because they want to understand why you are the way you are. That's why if you look at any crime scene in the US or any other of this developed world, part of the world, you see the media will be highlighting the person's last contact, his associations, where has he been, what does he think, how does he think.
So profiling in itself is not a bad thing.
How can it be a bad thing? It's part of crime resolution. Let me give you a typical example. In the US, sometime in 2020-21, there was a list that was generated from, I think, the FBI or so, of about 100 Nigerians that were caught red-handed in what you call Yahoo. And about over 90 of the names were Igbo names. Over 90. Now, that generated a lot of concern in Nigeria. Now, here's the difference. And I'll mention the names today. Amaechi Nakwe, you know him, Dr. Amaechi Nakwe, is a popular broadcaster on AIT.
Yeah. And
on radio to Ray Power. A bona fide man from Anambra State. So he came to CTB that period, and we're discussing this matter. And I raised this matter with him. How come our children are plenty for this list? He said, yes. There is a cultural problem of materialism amongst us, the Igbo people, that has crept in recently in our history. We have people who are trying to make money at all costs without necessarily showing evidence of enterprise. As long as you bring money back home during December, build mansions and ride convoy, you are celebrated. And so this has pushed a lot of young men from our instruction into crime. That we, the elite, we, the educated people now, we want to turn this thing around and return to the era where hard work was celebrated, not necessarily wealth.
I was so sure that was the culture more amongst my side of the country, because there are known places that are like the headquarters of all of these operations.
If you also check, there are cultural factors responsible too why people from your area are also, and it's very easy. For instance, most of them do it to help their families.
Yes, true.
So you have to understand, okay, why is this person doing this? To know how to solve the problem. And so, if you observe, Soludo did something that Anambra said as governor. Soludo said, these boys that are on social media pretending to be native doctors have emboldened both Yahoo boys and drug dealers, thinking that they can make money well to that enterprise. Soludo was parroting it. And to show that he was serious, he arrested one or two of those people to take them out of circulation, to stop them from influencing other ones, from thinking that if you go and collect Okite or a magical pot or something like that from these boys, you can push drugs or go and do Yahoo and nobody will catch you. The governor had to. It was like a socio-cultural, a revolution of mind and mindset and all that, cultural revolution to say, we do no longer want this. Go to main market and trade and make money legitimately. What have I said? The people that are affected took responsibility.
Yes.
And said, this is the reason why. In the US now, because the US authorities also knew that among Nigerians, people that are more that top of the list appear to be Igbo people. You know what the American police did? They now drafted African Americans, black Americans, to go and learn Igbo language and made them undercover police officers to infiltrate Nigerian gangs that are into this matter to bust it from within. I watched several of those kind of documentaries. So it is critical. You have to understand why is this large number? If it's an isolated case, for instance, okay, you can say, okay, maybe not more, but how come if you abducted, if you talk about banditry, it's associated with a particular group, you now have to understand what is the sociology of this crime. It helps to prevent crime. Gumi attempted to give us an answer. You see, I like Gumi for one thing, he's very honest. He's honest with his position, whatever position you think he's holding. He's honest with it. Gumi told us they are Fulanis, but they are aggrieved with the state because they don't have education and that. I disagree with him and his reasons, but I agree with his honesty. For me, he's more honest than a person that tells me, don't mention their name. So he's trying to tell you there's a sociology to this crime, and this is the solution. I don't agree with his diagnosis. No. I don't believe that the reasons he's giving is enough for anybody to go into that kind of crime. And that is not even a reason to begin to dangle carrots. Unlike this other group that said, the get rich quick syndrome or die trying is responsible for the high rate of Eastern youth that are going through these Yahoo things and maybe drug dealings and all of that. Meaning, stop that mentality is their own solution. But Gumi is trying to bring a solution that seems to want to pacify people that are already into crime by saying provide school, provide that. No, nobody has this kind of excuse on this side. So what I'm saying is, I may not agree with all of his diagnosis, but he has been honest to tell the whole world that this will belong to this ethnicity, and this is why they are doing it. Do you get the point? I'm trying to draw an analogy.
I understand you.
Gumi has never ever complained of ethnic profiling. No. He said, no, that's what they are. But that's why they are doing it.
Well, that's about the only thing that sets him apart from, for example...
That's why I said honesty.
Yes, I hear that. And we're going to come back, because the entire story before we diverted into government intervention was about Tuku Mamu's role.
So that's why I said...
in enabling witnesses.
That's why I said...
And I don't know, is it me? I can probably draw similarities, and at least I will give it to the late Muhammadu Buhari administration that they were able to...
No, let me come to that. Now I was coming to this issue.
Yes.
I was just trying to give a broader background to the matter.
I got that.
Now, what I said was just being honest. You can say honest with his ignorance, with his bigotry, whatever you want to call it. But at least he has told you what is in his belly. The Buhari government didn't try. They enabled this man.
Mamu.
Yes.
Up until they arrested him.
The same, because he played on their intelligence and they discovered and they were embarrassed. The Buhari government. Most of this press offensive today was created by that government. I was here for 8 years shouting about the failures of that government, and people thought I hated either the government or the not. Yes. That government created this Mamu problem. You know how? It is this same non-kinetic approach that they were adopting. When those guys struck, you see, the group that actually struck was a mixture of jihadi groups on one hand and elements of killer herdsmen. Some people likely believe that it was the Ansar group that actually carried out this attack. It's not the regular Boko Haram group. That's why, for example, they came with vehicles and bikes. They didn't walk into the forest like those other ones. So it was a mixture of both. There was a convergence at that point between killer herdsmen from the northwest and jihadists from the northeast. It's like a special operation, kind of. You know, at that point, shortly before then, Shekau was trying to extend his influence to the north to give a cover to killer herdsmen. But the killer herdsmen are not as disciplined as Boko Haram people. They want quick money. They don't have time for Shekau's long story of going to heaven and all of that. No. We just want money. So for all intents and purposes, you see, killer herdsmen are not actually Islamist terror groups. No. They only want money. Only. Their motivation is not ideological.
So, in essence, they are bandits.
They're bandits. They don't want money. They don't want... But the terrorism here is that we attack state authorities, attack citizens on a large scale, and begin to champion the kind of narrative that Gumi is championing on their behalf. It becomes terrorism, because they're now saying that we are fighting the state because the state refused to give you. So on that basis, you can quantify them as terrorists. But we talk about ideological jihadists. Yeah. These are the Ansarus of this world, the Lakurawas, the Boko Haram, the Iswaps. The only thing is that the common denominator is that both groups are comprised of people that claim and identify themselves as Muslims. But one is not actually a jihadi group per se. Their own is much. So they don't have the discipline that these other guys are having. So that convergence sort of slacking in between. But it was very alive during this operation. Let me not tell how the government bungled it. When it happened as usual, instead of the government to activate the full might of the state, to go after the people that have abducted the citizens.
They went non-kinetic.
And opened up discussion through this guy, through this Mamu.
Yes.
It will come in now in the morning to discuss now. Mamu was not discussing with the bandits or the terrorists in this case.
On the authority of the federal government?
Yes. When he was doing that, you know what happened? Those terrorists gave a lot of demands to the government that the government met, including using government aircraft to carry their wives to go and deliver in one hospital and come back. So many of those, including the jailbreak at Kuje, was one of the negotiated settlements. Yes. But guess what? After government considered, at least the much we knew in the open, and we don't know what else government gave to them by way of constitution. So the government will now claim responsibility that they got the children or the abductees rescued. You know, yes. The government will just, we rescued them.
Yes.
These guys now turn around to embarrass the government by asking for ransom for the families of the abductees. 100 million naira each. Have you forgotten? That was the highest ransom paid in the history of Nigeria. Mm-hmm. There was a guy that raised the stake of ransom to that level, and it has not come down since then. 100 million naira each. And the families of these victims contributed the money and paid on their own. Meaning your non-kinetic approach didn't work. I don't know who told any government that you can talk to a terrorist and negotiate with a terrorist. I don't know who told such a government that. They keep pointing to America and Taliban and say, Taliban is not operating in America or on home soil. They're in their own country. America was one who went there because they hosted Al-Qaeda that was fingered for being responsible for 9/11 attack. So America went there to dislodge them. But when they assured America that we are not interested in international terrorism, we also to govern this country.
Yeah.
And America saw that the people of Afghanistan truly believe in the same ideology with Taliban.
They left them.
And Taliban has no hosted. Have you seen that Taliban talk about even Israel and Palestine? Have you seen Taliban talk about anything that does not concern Afghanistan and their own internal affairs? To the extent that ISIS now, not ISWAP, the one in their own area,
yes,
so much hate Taliban and call them local champions. So they denounced Taliban for not giving the kind of active support that they give to Al-Qaeda. Now, they've denounced Taliban as infidels. And Taliban is calling ISIS terrorists. Isn't the Lord wonderful? But it tells you that America didn't just go in and go out. They achieved something. Taliban today has remained neutral in none of this matter. You can't hear of any international terror group today that has related to Taliban. No more. All they wanted was to take over their own country and govern it in line with their own ideology. Simple. But nobody on American home soil can abduct one American and they want to tell you it is doing kinetic approach with the person. It's not possible. It won't happen. And not just America, not in Saudi, not in UAE, not in Israel, not even in Palestine. Hamas cannot discuss with anybody that abduct one of their citizens as Palestinians. It's not possible.
So what does that kind of tell you about our government?
And that's what I'm saying now. The template, you see, the government before now was conflicted, and I talked about it severally, was conflicted by their own ethnicity and religion. There was a conflict. So their citizenship took a backstage. They were not standing for Nigeria at that time. We openly called out the Buhari government. The bandits we're expressing today exploded under the Buhari government.
So what is Tinubu's excuse?
Tinubu, that is the point. Tinubu does not know why he was elected as president. I keep saying this. The Asaba declaration that talked about power shift to the south by 17 governors was because of insecurity. When they gathered in Asaba and they listed all the demands, so ban on open grazing, ban on this, ban on that, it occurred to the governors that you have banned everything. Who will enforce this ban if you're not commander in chief? That was when they took a decision again to add that clause that power should come to the south. And Tinubu benefited from that sentiment. And you are putting the Buhari template.
Non-kinetic.
How is it going to work? Now, these people, this Mamu, was the creation of the government. So when this guy embarrassed the government, when this group outsmarted the government, outwitted the government, and used the government's head and in local balance, and the government was embarrassed, now see families paying ransom for them to be released. I'm not talking about what I don't know. One of our grand aunties and her children were part of this group. They paid 100 million for the other ones, but because she was old, the bandits said they should pay only 80 million for the old woman. The woman came out and died. Only.
Sorry.
This woman came out and died a few months later because she was already in her 80s. Mamu cashed out seriously because the government didn't know what it was doing. Mamu cashed out seriously. Look, this is just for one witness. From the account of my own family members that were involved in this matter, they said when they managed to raise the money in Naira, they took it to Mamu. Mamu said no.
It has to be in dollars.
Mamu directed them to the very Burundi change in Abuja where they should go and change the money into dollars. They came to Abuja, changed it, took it back to Mamu, and Mamu halved the money, put inside his wardrobe, took the half and said, okay, expect the people to be discharged. That was the kind of cashing out he did. Where was he arrested? He was going to Umura with all his family members, 3 wives and children. You know how much it is to, can I go to Umura myself? Can I afford to go to Umura with only myself? Yes. Or is it from publishing that is desert paper that he was able to go to Umura? When the government is on serious, you create crisis merchants, you create terrorism merchants everywhere. You create terrorism sympathizers everywhere. When the government is on serious. And we thought that, haven't experienced this, haven't seen that these guys are not, those who tried to negotiate with bandits came out to tell you, these guys cannot repent. One of those was Governor Erufa. He told you. He said these guys cannot repent, that I've tried before. Now, people don't like Erufa. Some people don't like him. So when he talks, instead of taking, look at the message, forget about the messenger. They just swept away with everything he said. I said, no, you don't have to like him. But look at what he said. He said, I've done this before. And he said it when he was still governor. He said it when Buhari was still in power. And he told Buhari, bombard this people out of existence, even if it will incur collateral damages. That we need to make a sacrifice once and for all. He knew what he saw. He knew. He was still in government. He was still favored. So he's not saying this today because he has been disfavored. No, he was still in government. When he said these people are not human, I've tried, I've done it before. It doesn't work with these guys. These guys, where we are going, they will become so armed, they will become so formidable that they will come for the state. Let me remind you and our listeners and the government that today in Sudan there is a civil war going on between the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces, and the government of Sudan led by General Burhan. The RSF is led by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo. Hamdan Dagalo was the leader of the Janjaweed militiamen of old that committed genocide in Western Darfur against the non-Arab but Muslim population of that region. And how did all that come about? Hamdan Dagalo was born in Chad. He was an Arab from Chad. During the Chadian Civil War, because the Arabs were a minority in Chad, they were suppressed and repressed, so they moved en masse out of Chad into neighboring Sudan. And because the rulers of Sudan were Arabs, their cousins, they were welcomed and they were resettled in Western Darfur. These Arabs were camel herders, as well as cavalry Arabs too. So when they came in and settled in Western Darfur, before long, this usual, there was a struggle between the sedentary host community and this itinerant Arabs, rather. They were not Janjaweed yet, over land and water resources. So what you call from other classes ensued.
Pretty much our story.
Our story. Instead of the government of Sudan now to find a solution to proper utilization of land for everybody to have access, they now saw an opportunity because at that time, Umar al-Bashir came to power in 1988 and made that this struggle was going on. So Umar al-Bashir came with an Islamist agenda to completely Islamize Sudan and an Arab supremacist agenda as well. So when he did that, it now triggered a secession cry and even an attempt to secede from Sudan, along with the South, from Western Darfur. Now the difference is Southerners were mostly Christians and non-Muslims and black Africans. Western Darfur we are a mix of both, but we are not Arabs, but we are Muslims. So they wanted to secede to say, if you cannot treat us equally, let us join the South and go.
Yeah.
Now, to combat that secession attempt was why Omar al-Bashir now weaponized that, the only equivalent of former Haddad clashes, and armed the Arabs to attack, to keep the Western Darfurians at home very busy. So when you're fighting, when you're even fighting at home, you can't have the energy to fight the central government. So they weaponized that group and now created a Janjaweed militia from the rank and file of the Arab cattle and camel breeders that came in from Chad. Interestingly, it was this General Burhan today that fighting for survival, who was as a colonel then, that was drafted to go and train the Janjaweed militiamen in the art of warfare. And guess what? The man is fighting against Hamdan Dagalo was also the leader of the Janjaweed militiamen that he trained. So this guy became so powerful because, again, Omar al-Bashir prioritized his race, Arab, his religion, Islam, over and above Sudan as his country. So he drove the secession agenda of South so rapid that by 2011, the South left Sudan with the bulk of the oil resources. So Sudan slipped into an economic crisis eventually. The kind of money that Sudan used to have, they didn't have it anymore. So the Arab population of the North, who by the war these years didn't say anything wrong with what Omar al-Bashir was doing to Western Darfurians or what they were doing to the southern part of the country, now started experiencing economic hardship. They now turned on their own government, started protesting because everything was going up. The government could no longer provide basic services because a part of the country had gone away with the oil resources. That was when the Janjaweed militiamen that had been recruited into the army now by Omar al-Bashir, he created an entire unit and called it RSF and incorporated the former Janjaweed militiamen into that unit as part of the armed forces and gave the rank of Brigadier General from 0 to Brigadier General to Hamdan Dagalo, a primary 3 school dropout, whose only rise to fame was his brutal use of the gun to mow down people. It is the activity of this Hamdan Dagalo that actually led to ICC issuing warrant of arrest for Bashir for genocide in Western Darfur. They rose to power. In fact, at the peak of their tete, Omar al-Bashir named Hamdan Dagalo Hameti, my protector. He was so comfortable because we are of the same stock. When the people now rose against Omar al-Bashir, this is where I'm coming. And the reason I went down this memory lane. Unknown to Omar al-Bashir and all northern Sudanese Arabs, these ones that came out of the country, from outside of the country to this country, have tasted blood and resources, blood money. They're not looking at the state as able to control. So people like this always have that kind of ambition. They want to not control the state. So while Omar al-Bashir was facing opposition at home from the people, Hamdan Dagalo connived with Burhan of the army. They deposed Omar al-Bashir. He's still in prison as we speak. He's in prison. They deposed him and took over government and pretended to side with the people. They appointed one prime minister among the people and just kept him somewhere and started running the government. Now the tussle now became such that the army was not so comfortable. The army don't like to share authority with a non-state actor. So that tendency came up. They don't want to share authority with RSF. So they said, RSF, disarm and join the army. And so where will Burhan now go? Where will Hamdan Dagalo now go? Which work will he be doing? He has become fabulously wealthy because of the military and mercenary contractorship he does for the Arab world and even the European Union. He helps them to contain illegal migration and all of that. So he's expected to be as rich as or as worth as $5 billion US. He controls trade in gold and so many of that. So he wanted to now dismantle all of this and hand over to you. That was the beginning of the civil war in Sudan. Now, the RSF is now trying to dislodge the legitimate government and take over the state. If Nigeria does not stop this thing we're doing, a time will come that we're battling bandits for the control of the state, particularly northern Nigeria. We're battling bandits for the control of the state. We are joking and we are playing. We have told government quietly, privately, publicly, what to do in each of these cases to solve the problem. But they have chosen to go through a route, and I do not know whether somebody has bewitched us. Let them continue. So while we are happy that the children are being recovered, we know that it's a very high cost. It's at the cost of depreciating statehood. It's at the cost of a state that is steadily failing. When you said you arm your DSS called the bandit to return, maybe those who made this statement didn't understand what the implication of what they are saying. So it has become such that it's a ping pong game now. You can call them and say return them. So you discuss with them, so you know that they are here. So we have been reduced to that level as a country and as a government. Yet you won't allow citizens to protect themselves. This is why some people think that is there an agenda? Is somebody feeding this monster?
Yep.
For an agenda that we are yet to fully appreciate or understand? Will you blame such people for such conspiracy theory?
Well, I mean, it'll be hard to, but let's think on that for a little bit. We need to go on a quick break. When we come back, the conversation continues. We have looked at the Tuku angle and you've explained how we got to this stage. We also have a similar situation in the person of Sheikh Ahmed Gumi. I think I saw that there was a female also on social media. She's called the female Gumi, who is also advocating, and the Nigerian government is sitting by watching on the sidelines while they continue. Let's go on that break. We'll be back.
Everyone says I'm beautiful and bold. They say I'm
Yes, it was quite the haul that they discovered from these two properties that they went to, his house and his office, amongst which was the Samsung tablet and two of his phones where the recordings that we talked about earlier on came from, where exchanges were being made between himself and the leader of the terrorist group, talking about setting up a website, setting up a website, procuring speakers, public address systems that they use to preach their activities, and many other things. Again, Dr. Majeed, for me, that was, that's happened. He's in custody. It remains to be seen, I think, if we're going to be looking at any other thing else, is what the judgment on his case will be when you look at what we've seen in more recent times with other people who have been tagged terrorists. ISWAP terrorist who was responsible for attacks in Kano State and all of that. He got his sentencing, and people were trying to draw parallels with that of Nnamdi Kanu. But until we hear the sentencing here, that's when we might truly understand where the government is going, especially as far as our justice system and what kind of punishment is meted out to people like this who facilitated terrorist activities, benefited from it, made money from it, and all of that.
The main culprit is not for me, it's not Mamu.
It's the federal government.
Federal government.
Okay,
Buhari, President Buhari, and agents of his government.
Okay, so what do we say now? I mean, if we're going to go after the late Muhammadu Buhari right now, there's probably nobody to put on his stand. But looking at where we currently are right now, we have a Gumi.
Yes.
Who may not be, I don't know. It's safe to say that he's also doing some negotiating, right? The only thing that we cannot ascertain is that whether he's making money from it, but he's doing some negotiating. He's talking on behalf of, in favor of. So the person who will hold responsible now is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, right?
For not arresting him now.
I mean, yes. how do we do that beyond the cries and because
why do you think Gumi cannot go to Saudi Arabia? I know of these Gulf countries.
So does it really make that much of a difference in light of what is happening? Because
that would tell that Saudi is a serious-minded country.
Yes, Saudi. Yes,
such persons cannot be allowed into that country.
But in Nigeria, here we're not doing.
I only give that example. He says a Sheikh Gumi. Why can't he go to Saudi Arabia, the headquarters of Islam in the world? If his own kind of Islam is what the Saudis approve of, by now Gumi should be telling what he knows about his friends in the forest. Gumi should be tried as not as an accomplice, an accessory to terrorism. Gumi is not just a terrorist sympathizer, he's a defender of the right of terrorists to continue to terrorize Nigeria in the open. Do you know that in the United States, in those days, to be communist alone, communism is an ideology.
Yes, yes, it is.
It's not a harmful one. To be a socialist was a crime in America if you are caught that you profess socialism.
Because it's similar to communism in some way.
Yes, but because it is seen then as a subversive ideology to the American state and core national interest. This is how countries go, the land countries go to protect themselves. It's only these days now you can be a communist in America, a socialist, and the rest you get is a backlash in the media, criticism and all. Then you are not allowed to even profess it. Marxist books were banned in America. I'm trying to tell you the extent to which states go to protect their sovereignty, to protect their national security. Because the reason was this: America was a rival at the time to the Soviet Union.
Yes.
So if you are a socialist sympathizer, there's a likelihood that you will be spying for the Soviet Union. There's a likelihood that your loyalty might be maybe to the Soviet Union and not to the United States, based on ideological leanings. This is how the far countries go. Anybody who sympathizes with a group that has declared war on Nigeria, that is abducting Nigerians, that is killing Nigerians, such a person should have no freedom walking about, let alone talking to the people. And the media, I think the media is complicit here. The media is the one amplifying voices such as Gumi's.
Because it goes on live television.
The media is being irresponsible. I've said this severally. You don't do this. You don't. When you do this, you are normalizing abnormalities. So if the government cannot do what it's supposed to do because of political considerations, no problem. How about the media? What is the media's own problem? The media gives platform to people that are not deserving of mainstream conversations, all in the name of balance. What are you balancing? What is balancing? Is somebody coming to tell you He's not just saying it. He goes in and comes out, and he tells you the government follows him there. There's nothing going on. He goes in. So you are looking for a terrorist, and I have access to that terrorist. Why are you not supposed to come and actually ask me, lead us to that place? No.
I mean, the same government are also saying that they're in direct contact with some of these bandits. We heard Bayo Nanuga on TV the other day.
So why you not?
So how then do you then? What then do you do to this? Because
now I'm saying that I don't believe
the president is in power now.
I can analyze Gumi and tell you the desired position the government should take. But at the end of the day, is Gumi doing anything different from what government is doing through non-kinetic approach? That wasn't the Mahmoud that they are trying. Now, the only thing they put Mahmoud to try was they were so angry with him for conniving with people that deceived the government thoroughly, to the point that they came here and removed their members from Kuje without any resistance, with government standing down technically. So that group so used, it's like what they say, they use your head to wash melon. You use government head seriously and got away with everything that they wanted, including money. And only God knows that government through their non-kinetic approach, so they give them some money. We don't know that one. So they are so angry with him that they decide to deal with him. It's like, you deceive me, I cannot catch the bully. But you this, I will deal, that's what they did. But who enabled Mamu? Who gave Mamu the mandate to negotiate? Mamu didn't negotiate in secret. He was doing it openly. And of course, he rendered service. And he was paid for his services. I'm not justifying what Mamu did in principle. I'm trying to let you know Mamu was the creation of a system that tolerated this nonsense. That we're talking about non-kinetic system.
Which will explain why Gumi is still moving around.
Exactly.
Right now.
Yes, some people believe that Gumi is right. Are we not a joke?
It was the other lady that I heard talking about how these bandits are forest guards. And, because of the fact that they're forest guards, they should be legalized and given room to operate because they know the ins and outs of the forest. They will be the ones in the better position to protect. Okay, enough of that. So, we are stuck, apparently.
We are stuck.
We are stuck.
And that is why I'm telling the president that, let me say this today. I know that the president is very concerned about the election. He's a politician. He doesn't want to offend certain sensibilities. And I'm wondering whose sensibilities.
At the expense of the entire
Let me say, I'm on radio today. Let me say this. Sometimes if you want somebody to do something, you use that which he likes or she likes to make an analogy. For 8 years, President Buhari, the hero of the North, the Muslim North specifically, which is the largest voting demography in Nigeria, for 8 years, he was venerated, even while he was misruling, even while they were the biggest victims of his misrule, security-wise and economy-wise. While he was venerated. Each time I talk about tribe and religion in our politics, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If I don't have any tribal or religious affiliation to you, I don't care. I don't care about your height or your looks. What I care about is your delivery of service to me. If I'm in an airplane today, I don't know who the pilot is. I watch how he's taking off, how he's landing, and the services rendered to me about that airline. But I will not, because the pilot is my Muslim brother or my Christian sister or my tribal brother, and endure or tolerate any nonsense he does with my flying time. I won't do that. Same thing with leadership. But unfortunately, he was venerated. All true. Each time we come out to criticize President Buhari, people from his part of the country come here to attack us. It was like, you are a living witness. They will still attack me today for mentioning Buhari today. You will see comments today. But guess what? When Buhari passed on, when he left power, Buhari couldn't deliver Katsina to his party in that election. APC lost Katsina. APC lost Kaduna. APC lost Kano. APC lost majority of the states in the Muslim North. APC won only Momedu Borno in the Northeast. APC won only 2 states in the Northwest, Zamfara and Jigawa. APC lost Sokoto. APC lost. You know what that meant? By the end of his tenure, the people had come to realize that he wasted their time for 8 years. And they rejected him and his party and his anointed candidate. When Buhari died, for a Buhari, you know who Buhari was before he became president? The Buhari of CPC of 2011, Buhari, General Muhammad Buhari. When Buhari died, I keep saying it, Buhari was not mourned in the way he should have been mourned. People were rejoicing in the North, in Katsina, You saw children on the streets jubilating and not showing empathy for the death of Buhari. If the Buhari I used to know, the time he took them from the Katsina airport to Daura, It should have taken them for not less than 2 days. You can't move the Buhari, if Buhari had died without being president, you can't move Buhari's corpse from Katsina to Daura in less than a whole day. It took the exact time it takes from Daura to Katsina to get to Daura. Why? It means the region they're trying to appease using the same template Buhari operated did not only reject that template, they rejected the man that brought on that template even in his death. This template, you grew up as a young lady. You used to hear of Hausa Fulani as one tribe. In fact, all of us in the north used to be called Hausas, right? Or Fulanis. But this template for the first time created a schism between Hausa and Fulani.
All right, so let's take a break. We'll come back and continue from that point of view. It's still Hard Facts here on 95.1 Nigeria Info, and we are talking serious matters. Just in case you've missed out, you can join us via the live stream. We'll be back after this.
This is Kids FM, the family fun radio. Kids FM is packed with exciting, engaging games, inspiring stories, great music, and the kind of conversations that bring families even closer. From sunrise to sunset, we've got something special for everyone in the family. Kids FM is fun for children, cool for teens, and just perfect for parents. It's more than radio.
It's packed with educational content such as language shows, quizzes, storytelling, fun, and many more.
It's a family experience you can count on every single day. So, wherever you are, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, or anywhere around the world, you can tune in live on 101.7 Kids FM or stream online at kidsfm.ng. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at kids.fm.ng for all the fun updates, giveaways, and behind-the-scene moments. Kids FM, let's play!
The Beta Arts Festival is back, and this 5th anniversary edition is set to be our most ambitious year yet. Experience 3 days of creativity, stage plays, films, music, workshops, the festival market, lifestyle events, and so much more. Date, December 5th to 7th, 2025. Time, 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. daily. Venue, Abuja Continental Hotel. Ticket options, daily immersion pass, 20,000 naira. Weekend explorer pass, 35,000 naira. Culture crew pass for groups of 3, 54,000 naira. Get your tickets now at www.betaartsfestival.com or contact tickets@betaartsfestival.com for table reservations. Beta Arts Festival 2025 is proudly supported by Abuja Continental, UNDP, Cool FM, Wazobia FM, and Nigeria Info FM.
News from the nation's capital. This is Abuja Today.
Thank you for joining us for Abuja Today. The FCT Mandate Secretary for Education, Alami Hayo, has been suspended. In a statement from the FCT Minister's office, Hayo was suspended after following misinformation that emanated from the Secretary.
Yes.
You know, I'm not the president of Nigeria. You know, I'm not from the South. But one thing is sure, whether Southerners or Northerners, the common concern among Nigerians is security and welfare. If you have through your policies deprived of or made our welfare situation worse, no problem. At least a hungry man can still survive on water and air. Abi, if you're not able to also provide security, so on what basis would Southerners, who wanted the shift of power to the South because they didn't want that Buhari template to continue, and you have continued, what should now be the motivation for Southerners to rally down behind one of them in the next election?
Which just goes to show the failings of this whole.
So the political strategy,
zoning, yes,
security strategy,
it's
everything
a failure
right
because it
now
comes down to the ability to deliver and give the people what they want.
Now, secondly, let me ask. On this program, people have accused me severally of hating Atiku. I said, I don't hate Atiku. No. I only said what I said about him at the time because it is true. Or was true. But guess what? If the president thinks that the PDP is no longer in a good position,
yeah,
let me remind the president and his minders and his handlers that in 2011, it was not the AMPP, which was the largest party then in the opposition, that gave Jonathan a run for his money. It was CPC that Buhari flew its flag. CPC, without state governor, without anything. CPC came close to winning that election. And when they were not declared as the winners, you know what happened in the North? Thank you. Because they believed that the man won. In 2015, it was not also the AMPP alone that removed the president. It was a new party called APC. There was an amalgamation of older parties that removed the PDP from power eventually. In 2023, it was not the PDP that caused the greatest upset in that election. It was Labour Party that Obi ran on. Labour that caused the most upset the most disruptions, and came close third in that election. There are still insinuations that Labour won Rivers. There are still insinuations that Labour won Benue. Whatever the case is, Labour won 12 state appeals with the other two big parties. Meaning Nigerians can at any time decide to rally behind any party. That party can be AAA, it can be BBB, it can be FFF, it can be anything. It can be a party without any name, as long as there's a party.
It just takes Nigerians that want it bad enough at this point.
Now, I observed, because why I'm saying this is, if Nigerians have to go for where they say, don't blame them. There are two things that Atiku Abubakar has done or not done in the past 1 month that I wonder how our president, who is said to be a strategist, a political guru.
Master strategist, not just strategist.
Two things. Atiku's reaction to the claim of Christian genocide was mum. He didn't say anything about it. He didn't issue a statement disputing it, which is very significant.
But he didn't issue a statement agreeing to it either.
That he didn't issue a statement, he didn't join the bandwagon to denounce it and shut it down, was a masterstroke on his part. Which means, well, I may not express my mind because of backlash of where I come from, but I sympathize with this support. I cannot shut it down. That message was communicated very clearly.
Was it though, sir? Because it's silent, not consent.
Again, I give you a background. It comes from a region where this matter has been raging. The preponderance of opinion in this part of the country is that to shut this matter down, which is very unnecessary, and I've said it severally. So he didn't say anything about it, but he didn't join. He didn't join. He didn't come out to say, let's shut it down. He didn't even react to the American. You've not heard from him on that matter for now. Right? Now. His reaction again to the abortions of school girls and all that has been a condemnation of government approach to the matter. Meaning, for him, let us use force. Let's go all out.
Yeah. Today he came out to say that the return of the girls is not a victory.
It means he has told you now that I don't support this method. Without campaigning for Atiku, I'm saying this because for people who think I hate him, do you think that if this man actually decides to run in the next election, you think if he's been another that will count against him when he holds these two opinions or taking these two stands on a very important issue that is there to not just all Nigerians but even across the other divide? Well,
I certainly wish that Nigerians would judge him based on more than just these two, because it's probably just politicking or politricking.
That is even politicking at all. I'm trying to bring up something here. That the government should not go and sit there and think that it's going to be a one-way ticket for them. That even Atiku, who has received bashing for violating zoning and all that, these two stands of Atiku is enough to resurrect Atiku's political ambition and bring it to the front burner. Do you know how many people in the South were offended, particularly in the predominantly Christian South, but we are offended by the government's unnecessary effort towards shutting down the voices of those that said, we are being persecuted and killed. You know, in none of my interventions,
sorry.
I've never come here to say that there's Christian genocide in Nigeria. You know, I've never said that. All I've been saying is this. If a group of Christians decide that the killing of over 100 people in Yelwater, killing of over some other hundreds in nearby Plateau on the eve of Christmas already, 50 here and there, 100, 200 in Plateau and all that, if they decide that this killing is to the genocidal proportion, I don't have a right to shut them down. The only time I'll shut them down is they say Majeed Dahiru was one who killed us and committed genocide. I'm not the one who finish. As long as nobody has pointed the finger to you, you don't have a right to tell a man how to describe his tragedy.
I have to ask though, you may not have a center to Christian genocide, but targeted killings.
No,
what's the difference?
There's a difference.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to let you know. I've not come and said, and carry a plaque and say, no to Christian genocide in Nigeria.
Of course, yeah.
What I'm just saying is, we all agree that are targeted killings, right? You cannot tell the people that have been targeted and killed and their loved ones that are alive how to describe those killings. It's immoral, it's insensitive, is provocative and it is hypocritical. So I'm saying, I don't have to say that Christians are being killed on a genocidal proportion. If somebody has said, the killing of one person in my family, I believe is genocide, you don't have a right to tell him no, because one person has been killed. To not tell the person that, but me too have been killed now, it's immaterial. You cry out of whatever it is you think you are going through, and leave the person to cry in peace. But unfortunately, the government took a stand rather than simply admitting that, yes, targeted killings can be interpreted by the victims as genocide. But the fact is, we as a state and as a government, we did not support or aid and abet the genocide, and we are working hard to defeat those that are actually committing the targeted killings. This should have been a simple and straightforward approach. But we adopted the one. We started sending people all over the world to go and actively say no. I said, how do you determine this? It's a matter of semantics. The definition is broad. It says a large number of people. Is 100 not large enough? It's still not even large enough.
You see,
okay, until it gets to 1 billion, for you know that it is genocide.
You see what's even more interesting, sir, speaking about some of the people who went out to defend this position, it was interesting that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Tuga, in his defense,
176 in his own defense.
Yes, but in his defense, ended up saying, because there's a tendency now to kind of want to cover everything that is happening and attribute it to political gimmicks and people wanting to politicize the issue. Tuga, on that international stage, on Piers Morgan's Uncensored, kept crying, we don't want to be another Sudan. It's interesting that in your analysis of the Sudan situation and what it means, especially if you draw a parallel with Nigeria, the things that will make us, God forbid, hopefully not, another Sudan,
are the kind of things that
are happening right now.
And I'm saying, I'm trying to get the president to do the right thing by this analysis I'm making. That is, Mr. President, I know you want to win an election. I know you're a politician. The best thing that can earn you victory in 2027 without spending money and firing a shot, solve insecurity problem across the country.
Simple. Let's take some calls, sir. We've been on this for over an hour, and I'm sure the people are itching to get in on the conversation. I have messages here by the numbers, so let's do that. 07009510000, 08095974869, and on WhatsApp 0809-993-0137. Let's talk.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
For me, compliment of the season.
Same to you, sir.
My name is Musa from James Village.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm happy that the discussion today is actually about profiling who are these terrorists, people who are actually killing us in Nigeria. Last week, Somi, I was watching a program by Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera carry out investigative journalism, and they discovered that most of the killing, particularly in the North Central, is carried out by a particular ethnic group based in Ukene. This Ansaru, this thing, it was the same people who bombed a church for war. It is the people who have broken Kuje prison twice. The Mandala church, it is that particular tribe. But do you know something? It is always terrorists and only Fulani. You understand? So I don't understand why is this tribe being protected by their elite, by their privileged media consultants on AIT and some media houses.
You said they're from Okene.
I can tell you this.
What's the name of the tribe now? Why are you afraid to mention the tribe?
Al Jazeera came out clearly.
What's the name of the tribe?
What's the name of the tribe?
They mentioned them.
So we were asking you a question. We weren't getting to an argument with you. Please be patient with us sometimes if we ask you questions back. It's really not trying to put you off of the conversation. All right, let's take some more calls. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, Dr. Majeed.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Alasi Somi.
Okay, Alasi, welcome.
I want to sincerely appreciate Dr. Majeed, and I hope the government is listening to your analysis about the danger that is coming. Because, Dr. Majeed, when you watch the video, before these bandits released these girls, they told, there was video. They said, we are releasing you, not that the government rescue you from us. And Dr. Majeed, if you can watch that video very well, you can see new bites by the size of these people. So now we are talking about this terrorism. As time goes on, if care is not taken, bandits will start controlling some state governments. I'm telling you, with what is going, the people that say they come for negotiations, they go back with their weapons. And tomorrow, you hear terrorist sympathizers calling this. You don't hear somebody say, okay, they're from Okene. Whose tribe? You couldn't mention the tribe. Because of Dr. Majeed, the way he's talking, and he's calling, he's saying the raw truth. But some people, the sympathizer of the terrorists, will call and say, it's not so, it's not so. So we should just keep quiet and keep going like that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much. I believe as much as possible, except we are talking about people who have clear connections to these terrorists by way of their activities and all of that, as much as possible, please, let's be careful about who we're labeling as terrorist sympathizers. I just want to say that for the callers who would disagree with any other person's position. I don't know names, please.
It's just unfortunate that Nigerians, some of us, are our own biggest problems. We were discussing the abduction and release of schoolgirls. That was where the issue of Fulani banditry came into the discussion. Abduction of. Nobody has ever accused Fulanis of being responsible for Boko Haram. No. And I told you, they don't even have the discipline to do jihadi terrorism.
Concerning the train attack, where we were talking about the Tukumamu.
I said that was the first time they attempted to have a convergence.
Yes, he said that.
It's like they don't have the rigor for the ideological inclination of this other group that want to install an Islamic State in Nigeria. They just want quick money. I segmented it. Musa, you didn't hear Muna talk about Igbos and Yahoo. You didn't hear that one. Because all you focused on was he's an Ibiraman, he doesn't talk about terrorism. Musa, let me inform you, sir. The first time that the news broke out that a Catholic church was attacked, the governor of Ondo then, late Akeredolu, said it was Fulani herdsmen. You won't blame him then because due to the crisis we're having around, so he just concluded it was Fulani herdsmen. I was on AIT the next day on my program. I was the first Nigerian alive to inform the whole nation that it was not Fulani herdsmen, that it was ISWAP elements that carried the attack. Then I waited for the government to respond. By Thursday, they confirmed that it was ISWAP. Then I came to this program the following Wednesday. I said, not just were they ISWAP, they are from Okene, my hometown. I, Majeed Dahiru, was the first to say it on this program. I'm not an idiot that will be defending evil because my ethnicity is involved. No, sir, that's what makes me different from most of you. I was the first. I have discussed Okene, Ebira tribe, and ISWAP on this program severally. I've written about it extensively. Recently, on a program that I had with Professor Tefalola, I highlighted the fact that my experience, when I talk about Boko Haram, jihadi insurgency and all of that, I'm speaking from my experience as somebody who grew up in an environment where we had this tendency in my hometown. But because you are closed-minded, you think it's an embarrassment for me to say that these elements are in my hometown. No, we don't tolerate it. That is why we have been able to save the Nigerian state from falling to ISWAP. Because why? Our governors, our traditional rulers, our intellectuals came together to denounce it and invited the federal government to come and kill all of them. No amnesty, no carrot, nothing. It's an all-out war that we are fighting with them at home there, and we're able to suppress it because we are sincere, we are patriotic, and we are honest Nigerians. That's the difference between me and those who are pampering their own terrorists in Zamfara, in Katsina, and in Kebbi. That's the difference.
All right, sir. Let's take some more calls. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, welcome, sir.
My name is Adiola Victor from Gisalagi. It is sad. My name is Adiola Victor from Gisalagi.
Yes, sir, we heard you. Go ahead.
Okay, yes. It is very sad that we find ourselves in the hands of non-state actors who are now dictating to government what they want from government. And it seems government is playing into their hands. You see, I will not be surprised tomorrow or in the future because some of them have come out boldly now saying that their next target will be maybe the federal lawmakers, the governors, and they even threatened that they will go after the president. But I doubt whether that will be possible. Maybe by the time two federal lawmakers or senators or higher place are kidnapped by these people. Maybe the government, who knows some of these people, who know their account, whether they will now go after them or name them. During Buhari regime, the former Minister of Information told the whole world that Buhari regime has penciled down the sponsors of these criminals and murderers.
All right, sir.
But that government left up to now, they did not release that list. So this government should release the list. Let me know them, go after them, send them to jail. Those who should be killed, so
all
that we have peace in this country.
Thank you very much, sir. Hello? Hello? Hello, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Yes, welcome.
Good evening, Madam Somi.
Welcome, sir.
Dr. Majeed. I'm happy to hear from you. Thank you for coming every Wednesday. In fact, you always educate us every Wednesday. I know the mission. This is
all right, Elder, you have a minute. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I said it the other day that if this is how they were killing people, destroying the future of minors, causing mayhem here and there, when Tinubu himself was small, Akpabio, all of them, the service people, all of them that's in power today, if this is how the thing is happening, would they be able to grow and become somebody today? The answer is no. The first thing for them to do is to protect life and property, and they are now toiling with life, killing people, dispatching innocent souls to untimely grave. If they cannot do anything now, I studied the history of Taliban. This is how they started gradually. And now look at them today. They took over the whole country. Nigeria will not get to that stage, I pray. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm Big from Guag says 2 things that will mar Nigeria that are already rubbishing our sovereignty is 1, amnesty to terrorists as repentant Boko Haram. Secondly, the non-kinetic approach of negotiation and ransom payment by the state to these terrorists. Besides, the moral support of sympathizers and apologists with financiers empowering these monsters economically, and government enablers like politicians and military stakeholders who have failed to do their job despite the huge budgetary allocation to the defense. Chiameka from Mabushi in Abuja says, good afternoon, Somi and Dr. Majeed. I put it to the government that they're colluding with